Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's special edition of a live stream. Welcome, everyone in the chat, and most importantly, welcome to our guys in the chat room. Welcome, Alex Pfeffer, Daniel James, Blake Robinson, and Christopher Sue.
Hello.
Before we jump straight in, what I would love to do is just have each and every one of you give a quick information about yourself, who you are, what you do, in case some people don't know you. So, Alex, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, so hi, I'm the grandfather basically of this group here right now. So no, I'm Alex Pfeffer. My name is Alex Pfeffer. I'm a composer, sound designer from Hamburg. I'm doing this for 15 years now, and I have worked on quite a few video games and, trailer licensed tracks. And I play guitar, and you may heard of me from a few YouTube videos or a few, games or whatever. And I'm pretty stoked to be here tonight. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Chris, how about you?
Yeah, well, if Alex is the grandfather, I'm the baby. So I'm very excited to be here as well. And when I got the invitation, I was like, wow, I'm very honored, and I really appreciate, having the opportunity to chat with you guys. It's very exciting. So I'm a pianist, and I started off as a singer-songwriter a few years ago, and then transitioned to kind of writing orchestral music a couple of years back when I discovered sample libraries. I was like, wow, this is a really cool advancement of technology compared to what we had before. Now with all the virtual instruments and everything we've got, it's just amazing what we can do. So it's just been a lot of fun, and yeah, again, just super excited to be here and looking forward to chatting with everybody.
Thanks for being here, much appreciated.
Thank you.
Mr. James, what you can say?
Hi, I'm Daniel James, and I'm an alcoholic. No, wrong meeting. No, yeah, my name's Daniel James. I'm a primarily video game composer, I guess, and I also do some film stuff. I'm neither the baby nor the granddad. I sort of fit nicely tucked in the middle there. I'm not sure what that is. The kid? I'm the kid. No, that would be you.
The teenager.
I know. I'm the middle-aged uncle of the group. And I do YouTube. I started in 2009, and I've actually been documenting my entire career through YouTube. So literally from like my first project, pretending like I know what I'm talking about, but explaining my process back in the day, all the way up till now. So you get to see when I fail and when I've succeeded, things like that. But now I stream on Twitch with the lovely Dirk and Alex here, and well, you all stream on Twitch now, right?
I've never streamed on Twitch.
Nah, too lazy for it. Well, the other streamers here, but yeah, other than that, I'm just happy to be here. So thanks for hosting this.
Thanks for taking the time to come around. Appreciate it. And last but not least, we got to take things slowly with him because he just got up. Blake Robinson in Down Under. There we go.
Yeah, I'm the token Australian of the group. Thanks for having me. No, look, I'm Blake Robinson. I release my music under the name Blakis, and I mainly find myself in the trailer sort of world, doing custom trailer stuff, particularly for Electronic Arts. I've been lucky enough to do a bunch of Star Wars trailers for them over the last couple of years, and the Rise of Skywalker trailer as well. So yeah, just trailers all over the place. Did though get to do something that wasn't a trailer recently, an Apex Legends short film, which was really fun as well with the Respawn guys. But yeah, good fun.
Cool. Thanks so much for being around and for getting up early. But you have a small kid, so you're used to that anyway, right?
Yeah, true.
And yeah, I might add my 5 cents for that as well, or 2, I don't know. Dirk Illett been streaming shortly after Alex and Daniel started with that a few years ago, being on Twitch and YouTube all the time, pretty much. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on workload and everything. And appreciate you guys in the chat room, having you all here. Please leave your questions in the comments, depending on the topics we come up and talk about. What you want to know from the guys. I mean, we have everyone in one room. There's rarely a better chance to direct your questions to that awesome roster of YouTube celebrities. So absolutely appreciate you guys. This whole conversation is driven by what you want to hear from us. So appreciate any input there. But to get started, I got a few questions through Facebook and also in a private message. And one of the things that I get asked specifically about being a composer on YouTube or showcasing your workflow, is pretty much the question, why do we actually do what we do? And I kind of yesterday thought about that a little bit. Will this go on forever? Because I love this already. That's one question in the chat. I think we have an ETA on this one, but I can tell you right now what that will be. But anyway, question is, why do we do what we do publicly on YouTube? Why do we share how we compose? Why do we do this? So anyone wants to jump on that?
I can kick off if you want. I remember why I started. So I started way back in the day, like I said, when we were doing the intro bit. I actually started, it's a funny reason, because I'm sure most of you have experienced this before. You'll write a cue or, you know, an entire soundtrack. And like 2 months later, you'll listen to it and be like, how the fuck did I do that? You'll be like, I can't remember how I did that process, how I did any of this. So what I started doing was doing it as a way to remind myself, as documenting where my brain was at the moment I was, you know, when I was writing that piece. Because to me, I feel like when you're writing music, it's all about what's like where your mindset is, you know. So if you need to write in a specific genre, you know, if you absorb that, just solely that type of music, the subconscious is more likely to call upon it when you're writing. You know, like how we compose is like driving a car. You don't think about it. It just comes from within, you know, you just do it. And so the more you absorb. So what I was doing is I was documenting ways for me to watch myself back and listening to the words and phrases I'm using when I'm explaining things as a almost like a back door to get my mind quickly back into that mindset. So if ever I need to do that thing again, I'm ready to do it because I've got a faster way to get into it rather than just having to sit for a week listening to dubstep or whatever it is you have to do for a client. You know? But yeah, that's why I started. And then eventually people started watching it. And then I was like, oh, okay. You know, like people want to hear what I've got to say about, you know, people would comment like, oh, can you take a look at this, you know, sample library X? So I did. And then people started watching that. And then it sort of morphed from me remembering how to do stuff to me showing people. And the thing I learned very quickly is that you learn yourself very quickly when you have to show other people how to do it. So I just took it on board. I was like, this is just part of my own learning process. It's part of my own building process. I never got into it with the aim of like trying to get followers or do anything like that. It was just literally a way of me building myself. And, you know, it just sort of formed around me. And so I still do it today. Still for my own self, you know, aggrandization. I'm sure that's what people are thinking, but no, my self growth, you know, my just building myself up in a non narcissistic way, but also at the same time sharing that knowledge with other people. And, you know, if I can help, it's always good. You know, like I've had people, and I think most of the people here have as well, I've had people message them where they're like, you know, you've turned my career around, you know, I'm doing so much better every now, you know, since your video. And that feeling does contribute to wanting to do it as well. Obviously the ones where they're like, you suck, go fuck off, you know, like they're not so nice. They're not the ones that make you want to do it. But the ones where they're like, hey, that was pretty good, bruv. You know,
great point
okay
there.
With those ones. But yeah, that's why I got into it.
Yeah, Blake, how about you? What made you go into
Well, it's funny
streaming?
listening to you talk, Daniel. I'm remembering back to about 8, maybe 9 years ago now when I first started getting to this. It was literally one of your videos was one of the first ones that I saw when I typed it in YouTube. And I think, I can't remember, but it was something like how to get your spiccato strings to sound like Hans Zimmer. I'm like,
oh,
yes,
dude, there's a whole fucking
dude, I remember the trick. I think you've taken it off since then, but I'll tell everyone, just layer in some subtle tremolos. Layer in some subtle tremolos underneath it or something like that.
Okay. We're going to have to draw a line on accents here, or I'll start doing the Australian. Ain't nobody got
but I just remember that blowing my mind. And I think a lot. My profession before becoming a full-time composer about 3 or 4 years ago now was teaching, and I taught little kids, you know, primary school kids, we call it over here, 8 and 9 year olds. And being able to do learning and stuff like that online, you know, like there's so many little tricks with mock-ups and samples and things like that are just not really talked about. And I learned everything that I know off. No offense, but like crappy little YouTube videos like that. Do you know what I mean?
Oi,
you know,
tell me what you really think, Blake.
And so, yeah, no offense, bro, no offense. No, I prefaced it. And that's why, you know, and so it's a bit of a combination of that. The fact that I was able to learn so much is why I started dumping stuff out there as well. And it was kind of almost a little bit second nature to me coming from a teaching background as well. I just wanted to try. I love the transfer of information. So yeah.
Yeah. Blake, can I tell you a story about that spiccato video?
Yeah, sure.
Only if it's quick. Only if it's quick, mate.
Only if it's quick, mate. No. So I put that video out there, right? You know, it was a VI control thing to show how to sound like Hans Zimmer strings. A few days later, I got an email from Hans Zimmer saying, I think you'll find that's not how it's done. I didn't believe it was Hans Zimmer. So I emailed back, let me tell you why you're incorrect, sir. I sent this long, like, detailed
That's
email
how it started.
as to why he was wrong. And then it transpired it was actually Hans. And I was like,
That's so funny. Oh my goodness.
No,
And
well,
it
I
is
think
indeed not how you do them. So,
But it is a
There is
legit tip. It works.
it's absolutely a legit tip. I remember that video very much in my early days when watching one of Daniel's early attempts
Definitely,
on
yeah.
the videos. Definitely worth it. But Alex, as the grandfather of the
Yeah.
streamers, what's your take? What made you go
So
into
I
it?
actually, back then I just had to check my YouTube account because I actually uploaded my first video in 2008, and I think I did it like 2005 something, and it was for a track called Herophobia, which was
I remember that
an
track.
official demo to Storm Drum 2. And the thing is, I hosted, I think, back then there was no social networks. There was no YouTube and Facebook and anything. So we just had forums, we had like the medieval things of, social networks. So I remember that Doug Rogers just posted a demo on the Sounds Online website. And then I received a lot of questions, what did you do? How did you get this track? How did you write this track? How do you compose all these percussions? And this was, the first idea I had of saying, like, where can I download, some kind of a software where you can capture the screen of Cubase and just have the piano roll. And this was actually my first walkthrough video. So it basically consisted of, you seeing the piano roll, and I just had some, whatever Magic Movie Maker or something.
Yeah.
And I just basically put the patch names on top, what I used when you listen to that specific part. And that's it. That's how I started it. And the response was really great. And so I thought, hey, this is fun. And I'm one of these guys, I can't write music all the time. If I just work for like a full week of music, or even if I wrote like 3 hours and one bit, I just have to do something else. I can't go on making music. And so this is a welcome, exchange of rebooting your brain or doing something like this. So to do videos, to do the live stream thing, well, it's still talking about music, but it's, it's not composing right in this moment. So, and yeah, I had a little break actually for like through 4 or 5 years, something. And I kind of regret not keeping it consistent, which is my main motto today, like build your channel consistently. But
Dude, I was
I'm
devastated
back.
when you left. I was genuinely devastated when you went away. Like, for real.
it's a
I used to
virtual
watch your
hug,
videos
man.
all the time, man.
Oh,
Yeah, and these times we only can virtual hug anyone. But Chris,
Yeah.
what about you? You, as the baby boy, as you
That's right.
put it yourself, what made you go into it?
yeah. So I guess when, like way back, I guess 2011. So it's not as far back as some of you, but 2011, I started a piano channel, and that I tried to remain consistent on that because I enjoyed, playing and getting videos up on there. But after a while, piano performance wasn't like my favorite thing to do of all time. And then when I discovered songwriting and composing, I actually was much more interested in that type of thing. So then the end of 2018, I think I thought to myself, if I can create a channel about something I'm legitimately passionate about and want to continue doing, then I might have more success with motivating myself to actually creating regular content for that. So then the first thing I wanted to put on there was a piece the first orchestral piece I ever wrote. So that went on there. And then after that, I kind of did a breakdown video for that piece. And ever since the questions have just continued to come in, and I've grown with my audience. I've continued to discover new techniques, learn from all of you guys, and just continue growing up as a person who continues to create stuff. So it's been a lot of fun, and have no plans on stopping soon for sure. I think all of us want to continue making some type of impact in the industry, and it's just a lot of fun along the way. So it's been
Cool.
a lot of fun so far.
Well, it's great to have you guys all live nowadays and see your videos. One question that goes along with that someone asked is there an essential difference? And this is, I think, more a technical thing. Is there a major difference between doing a live stream or pre-made video, like prepping everything and just uploading a video that you have more time to create, or the thrill of being live and anything can happen, so to say? So quickly, maybe jump into that difference, if there's any for you, and what do you, for example, prefer? Do you prefer to be live, or do you prefer to do like sample review, library reviews, or track walkthroughs, something like that, to be done offline and then upload? What's your take on that, Daniel?
I tell you what, it was a fucking blessing when live streaming came along, because I hate with a passion doing pre-recorded videos, because I'm always like, hey guys, and then I'm like, was that good enough? Was that good enough? And then I'll like stop 10 minutes in and be like, fuck it, I'm going to start again. Hey guys, Daniel J. Now, was that too powerful? Was that too on the note? And so
you practice under the shower, right?
Dude, I practice everywhere. To be honest, I'm surprised I'm not practicing on this. In fact, I just threw 2 practice Daniel Jameses out there. So anyway, as I was saying, no, when live streaming came along, it's the kind of person I am is definitely more suited to live streaming. Like I thrive on I'm not like extroverted in that way, but it's like when there's a live chat room and there's live people, I find it much easier to bounce ideas off of people than like on a forum or a message board. But even in like pre-recorded videos, you feel like you're being a bit more canned, a bit more kind of, you're watching what you say, you're trying to be more articulate and stuff. And I tend to find with me, a lot of what my channel's about is just me and my personality, the way I do things, you know what I mean? Like I don't do things the conventional way, not for effect. It's just that my channel's more for me than it is anything else. So that's just what it is. So when live streaming came along, it allows me to just be me. So when I'm doing reviews and overviews and things like that, I feel like I'm more honest with it, because it's channeling through actually me, rather than like trying to impress people. Like I always found when I was pre-recording, I was trying to be like professional and all like proper. And it's like what I was doing, it's like I'm talking about recordings of someone tapping a glass in their living room. You know what I mean? I don't need to be fucking professional about this. It's like no one really cares. People just care about what it sounds like. So I can instead just be myself. And live, I feel like the live streaming allows me to express that considerably more than a pre-record. And pre-records as well, worth saying, pre-records also, like if you say something bad in a review, which I have been accused of saying before, if you do a pre-record, people will say that like, oh, you say something overwhelmingly good, they'll be like, you just edited out the bad bits, or like you're only showing me the good bits, and shit like that. And when you do it live, it's like, dude, it's 8 hours long. Sit down, grab a coffee, go watch it, or shut the fuck up. Like it's
that might be another question. I got a question actually. Do the streams need to be this long?
Oh shit.
But yeah, I mean, you mentioned something that I find pretty interesting. I think one of the major difference between like a pre-recorded video and going live is actually you kind of need a little bit of an extrovert persona to be able to jump in front of a camera and interact with an audience live, no matter if it's on an actual stage with audience in front of you or if it's through a camera with the audience sitting behind their screens. It's still, there is a kind of thrilling element of being alive, and anything can happen.
If you throw up, you throw up,
Yeah, right. And so if someone asks me what's the difference or what is better, I think that's the main difference, because I think not everyone is suited for going live or doing live streams, just because of an maybe not as extrovert personality. On the other hand, I think that going live is a great way of building more of an audience than uploading a pre-made video and only have communication through the for example, through the comments on the video or something like that. So I think that the interactive part of a live stream is more helpful in building a community or building a communication platform for the stuff that you're talking about. So that's my take on it. Blake, what do you think? Did you ever do pre-made ones?
I've neglected my few followers for a couple of years now, so apologies to any of you out there. So, but I love the live stream, the interaction side of it's the main reason why I chose to go live. I did a couple of things really long live ones, you know, just raw. I think they appeal to different people as well. I mean, people who, you know, the pre-made short punchy videos are helpful for people just out there trying to get, you know, specific facts and information and all that. But yeah, the lives are a bit more fun for people who want to actually, you know, have a bit of a journey with you and a bit of fun. So yeah.
I suppose if we're being honest with it as well, like no one wants to say it, but there's a degree of wanting a little bit of fame out of it as well, isn't there, boys? Like we're not doing this for no one to watch it, are we? Like those views do matter to a degree. I don't know why. Maybe we've all become addicted to the endorphins of getting likes and views. Does anyone else feel that sometimes?
Well, I just think the nature of being a
video's not doing
content
so well?
creator. The nature of being a content creator in general, like as a producer of something, you want to have your work
Yes.
recognized in some degree, right?
An artist, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
No one makes
yeah.
art to be put in a cupboard.
Right.
Yeah. I just looked at my first YouTube upload, and it was definitely me just posting a mock-up, basically trying to, and you don't do that for any other reason than for people to hear it.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Right. So any other notices on live versus pre-made, Alex? I think you didn't say anything about that, and you did both. I know that for sure.
I pretty much agree with Daniel because, you know, it's the interaction thrill. You know, you have your live on camera, and I mean, there is like this constant brain fart plug-in in a German's brain, especially when you're talking English, because you always have to translate first before you get it out. And then I'm one of these guys who sometimes gets into that, you know, kind of that grandfather on the Muppet Show, just going on stage and then where are you guys? You know, oh, it's this way, you know. So you really have to think first what you're trying to say, and then you get into some route you think through in German, and then you head in out in English. And this is kind of a challenge. And this is the thrilling when you go live and you interact with people and everybody sees you. And what's important for me, why I did go live, is that everybody also sees you failing, because I totally suck on playing piano. You know, I totally fail. I can, you know, just ask me to play like some kind of a track. I can't. But this is also what I want people to see, because on YouTube videos, it's like everybody's like, you know, I'm just
the pre-made ones.
Anyways.
What's wrong with that, Alex? What's wrong with posing?
Yeah, I was going to say that's what DJ does. Yeah.
What's wrong with that? What are you talking about? What's the problem?
The disco moves, we bring them in.
Can I just make another point? Sorry,
okay.
between the live. I genuinely believe that once you get live streams set up, which it can be complicated at first, but once it's set up, it's considerably easier to live stream than to do a video for YouTube.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely.
That's true.
I can just put the camera on, push record, and it's beamed out to everyone. There's a chat room already done for me. And when it's done, it's put in an archive. And then I can choose if I can be bothered to go cut it up, deal with it, see if there's anything decent for YouTube, you know? Like, whereas if you do a YouTube video, you have to set up the camera, you have to record it, you have to make sure you actually recorded it. Has anybody done that one? Not actually push the record button. That fucking sucks. Anyway, but like you have to record it, and then you have to sync the audio together. Then you have to edit it together, you know, cut out all the bits. Some cameras only let you record for 30 minutes at a time. For someone like me, you can imagine that's a bit of a problem, right? And then so you edit it all together, and then you have to export it, which takes fucking hours if you're doing it in 4K. Then you have to upload it, which takes another few. You know what I mean? It's just much easier to just go stream. I'm done, you know? That's my effort for the day.
Cool. Going on, there was a great question in the chat room regarding myself and Daniel being in LA now, having moved from good old Europe over here, and Alex staying in Germany, Blake in Australia, and Chris, I think you're in Canada, right?
I'm in Canada, yeah.
So the question was how much that had an influence on the career being in LA, or even other way around, not being in LA, how much of that has an influence on your career. So maybe that's a quick thing to talk about. Daniel, you being in LA, did you feel that made a major difference, your move?
To be honest, like I did all of my dream projects. You know, I did them in Battle, with the little village just outside Hastings. You know, it's a little quaint village. So I didn't need to be in LA to do the things I wanted. But I heard it put really well by someone. It's like I think it might have been Dean Ogden I heard it from, but it's like you don't get points for being in LA, but you do get points taken away for not being here. And by that it means no one's going to give you anything just because you're in LA, but there are opportunities you might miss because you're not here, right? So it's like it's an opportunity, more than it is like a thing that's guaranteed. So moving here like puts you in a position to get lucky more often because, you know, there's more directors here. There's a chance you go down to Trader Joe's and you're both going for the same crumpets. Boom, director, you know, you've met someone. That's not going to happen in battle. You know, it's going to be me and Ethel fighting over the last eggs. You know, it's not the same kind of balance. So just being here, you know, you're amongst the famous people. You're amongst the creatives. You're amongst the artists, the singers. So if that's the world you're in, it helps to be here. You know, you don't have to be here. Like I said, I did everything I wanted to already before I got here. Now I'm just my wife's a trade commissioner for Finland in Los Angeles. So now I'm more here for her than I need to be here. You know what I mean? Because still, like, most of the work I'm getting is coming from like other parts of America, or like I just did a bunch of Chinese projects, you know, like it doesn't matter. Like that myth of you have to be in LA has kind of gone in the internet age, you know, with people being able to work over the internet. However, that human connection thing does still exist. So again, you don't get any points for being here. You don't get given anything for being here, but you get there's more chance you'll have opportunity here if you happen to be here, just proximity, because physically being here, it would make it more.
That's pretty much my experience as well. Like coming from a village south of Berlin, 40 kilometers outside of the city, which was like a 250 people village, you don't have much possibilities of meeting someone else working in this industry. Even when you told someone you're a professional musician or composer, anyone asks you, no, I mean, what do you do to earn a living? So that is kind of out of the question in these rural areas outside. And coming to LA, it felt way more normal being in this industry because everyone else is too. So you're just a part of something bigger, not the special strange guy that is doing something in Hollywood or whatever. But in today's age of being interconnected globally,
I mean, look at us. Look how spread out we are. Look, poor old Blake had to get up at 7 a.m. to make this happen. You know what I mean? Like that's the genius of the internet. That's why you don't need it as much.
Which still,
look at the poor boy.
Which still, on the other hand, I mean, there are moments when, let's be honest, there are certain types of job that don't happen if you're not in the city. I had the same thing. I worked with a trailer house, and I couldn't have worked on that trailer even if the pitch didn't work out in the end, but I couldn't have done it if I wouldn't have actually physically entered their door, signed the NDA, and sitting down with the trailer editor and talk about what they need. So because they have no way of sending anything out into the world. So if you're not here, that's an opportunity you are going to miss out if you're not around. So
that's also considering your personality, though, right? Because naturally, if you want these opportunities, you have to be willing to actually go out and get them. Because you could live in LA, you could live in a very widely populated area, but if you're just an introvert, you don't want to go out and get those opportunities, then what's the point, right?
Correct.
For me, for example, I'm in Canada. I'm in the most rural area of Canada you can be. So I basically had no choice but to go online, and 100% of my opportunities came because of my YouTube channel, and I'm very thankful for that. So it gives me more of a motivation to stay connected and go on Facebook, go on all these outlets that actually keep you connected with different people, because you're not going to get that around where I'm living. So it's it's also helped me socially as well, you know, being exposed to just more people and doing streams like this. It's just very helpful to, you know, be in the presence of other people and build yourself up that way too.
Yeah, right. Alex, what do you think? Does it hinder you being in good old Germany instead of in the center of it all?
Well, it was, you know, I had this experience when I was in Los Angeles 2012 for the incredible Two Steps from Hell concert in the Disney Hall. Sorry. And I, you know, visited a few people, so to say, and I experienced this situation that I met some guy who I worked with, who is also part of a famous heavy metal band. So, and I was visiting in his house, and then he said, hey, we have the chance to work together on a movie. And, you know, when I got back and we had a few Skype sessions, and then suddenly he said, you know, unfortunately, you can't work on this because the producer wanted both of the composers to be in LA. And this was one of these points where I thought, you know, shit, it would have been cool to be over there, to live over there. But then again, I had this experience that I worked with another Hollywood composer on it was just a small movie, But it was a Hollywood movie, but just did some additional arrangements for that. And I did it from Hamburg, so it works. So I don't regret it. And I mean, I wrote music for Epic Score. I wrote music for Two Steps from Hell, all these companies, Liquid Cinema, and they all based more or less in LA. So it works. You can sit in Hamburg, which is also not just a small, town. It's a really great city. I don't want to live anywhere else. This was also one big factor that I realized I can get this work, I get this work done from Hamburg, and I can live in one of the most beautiful cities on the entire planet. Even if it's not true, I think, but so you don't need to be in Los Angeles, definitely not.
Yeah, I always used to say, as long as I have a laptop and an internet connection, I can pretty much work from anywhere. So
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that goes along with that as well, like the whole stages of the industry being in LA, and a lot of questions, or a question that comes up every now and then is how do you actually get into the whole process of a working composer? What's the best way to? I mean, if there were a golden recipe, I would have written a book about it and be rich on an island somewhere. So obviously we know that there is no golden recipe, but since we have that panel of being on YouTube and bringing your own brand out there, and I consider my YouTube channel or the live streams and everything is also a type of branding and brand identity and getting your own ability out there. I mean, how many of you guys created jobs through your YouTube channel? I definitely did. So I know for sure that 2 of my biggest projects came through my YouTube streams.
So that's how I got all my work. And this touches on the last point a little bit too, where, and for anyone out there watching who lives in like the middle of nowhere, like me and Chris or whoever else, there is, while there are a lot of jobs that you can only get in LA, there are so many jobs that you can get living anywhere. And so it doesn't matter where you live.
Right.
If you can do the
There's
job,
way more of them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing people care about really is whether you can do the job. And if you can do it from a little tin shed in the outback, then that's good enough, mate. So, and they don't care. So,
and the YouTube shows that. The YouTube shows that you know how to do it. That's the point, isn't it?
And I encourage people to put stuff out on YouTube and SoundCloud. And I mean, how are people going to hear it if you don't? And my philosophy was always, all right, I'm going to make some music. I'm going to chuck it on the internet. If it's good enough, people will probably come to me for work. I guess I've been a bit lucky. All my opportunities came from messages on SoundCloud in the beginning from publishers, and then same on YouTube, which then led to people contacting my website for further work, and then you build relationships, and then most of my work now comes from my relationships with people at Electronic Arts and all these other places as well. But I still get new opportunities just from the stuff that's hanging around on SoundCloud that I uploaded 5 years ago.
It's worth mentioning. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say it's worth mentioning. I completely forgot what I was going to say then. Carry on.
Okay,
there we go. No,
Daniel James.
Only one.
I let it go because I thought I'd interrupted him. So I was like, actually, go on. You go.
I'm done,
and then
mate.
It just went. It just disappeared.
That was so fast. Okay. I can speak from that perspective. I like Blake here. Like I said, I got 100% of my work from YouTube, and I think for me the most important thing, or for any like content creator or person looking for work as a composer, is to have some sort of presentable portfolio. And when that opportunity does come in, you have to be able to be contacted easily. There are so many cases where like people are advertising their work, and then I kind of check out, contact me here, and either the links are not working or their profiles on some network are just down or something, and then that person just loses their prospect just like that. So it's like having a portfolio, having a body of work that you can present, also being like a people person. You just learn to work with people. It's just something you just get with experience, I guess.
You reminded me what I was going to say. Sorry.
Did I? Okay. You're next.
Thank you.
Yeah. And just being easy to contact, and also over delivering. I think that's kind of the key thing. Like when you're working with somebody, for the most part, it's not enough just to do the work and then just say, okay, I'm finished. it's always better to kind of go a little bit extra and say like, is there anything else I can do for you? Or for the next time, maybe I can help you do this as part of our deal or something, you know? So you just want to make it kind of like a customer experience as pleasant as possible. I think that really contributes to repeat clients as well.
Yeah. Sorry, the thing I was going to say is, and it's ironic enough, it's that like the thing with YouTube and videos and streams and as well is that your personality translates. I know that was a funny thing to forget,
100%.
knowing old narcissistic me. But anyway, it's like it translates in a way that like a cold call or an email or a SoundCloud link won't. You know what I mean? And this is a personality-driven industry, and by that I mean like it's already been mentioned. It's like interconnected networks and connections and friends of people, and sometimes people just have a personality that doesn't meet that kind of personality of that team or that group, you know, like that people think and feel in different ways. And you know, when you put yourself out in videos and live streams and stuff, who you are translates and comes across. And so like I've definitely had work that people have been like, nothing you've done's like exactly what we're looking for, but like you seem like you know what you're talking about and the kind of person we'd get on, you know, and we'd go out for a drink or whatever and realize we get on, and then we'll try and figure it out together. So like they, you know, I've had people come to me even, you know, not hearing if I can do it or not, simply because of the personality. And that's not me being like I've got a great personality. It's just that my personality exists like in a quantifiable fashion. Like people can go watch videos and then be like, that's the kind of person that person is. And they'll know whether or not they like that or dislike that. And that's fine, you know, because there is enough people on both sides. You know, there's going to be enough people that like me and enough people that hate me in the world for every one of us. You know what I mean? So if you're being yourself.
Sorry, but I remember that in your streams, Daniel, that somebody complained that you curse a lot.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? I mean, if somebody was like you, then just switch off, you know, because that's your personality and that's how you handle things. And
yes.
Cool.
I couldn't stop it if I tried, Alex. I couldn't stop it if I tried.
There we go. By the way, I forgot the parental advisory hint in the beginning of the stream.
Oh, frick.
But anyway, I have to look. There was a great question that I really liked that I think Halvala asked that. I love the idea. What is the one piece of advice that you would give yourself from 5 or 10 years ago?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Because it also relates to the question before. I think my entire career is based, I mean, back then, as I said before, we didn't have Facebook and social networks in general. So it was like forums. But my entire career, actually anything I do, maybe working for Dynamedion, for Germany's biggest music video game, you know, music company, and or getting into the trailer industry and everything, there was just my entire career is based just on being around on forums, being around on social networks. This is how everything started. So if I would go back to myself and saying, what would you change? I would say, first of all, nothing except one fact: to build content consistently, regularly. This is the best thing you can do. And this is, I don't mean this in a negative way, like pointing to everyone watching this. This is why 90% of you will fail, because you're not building content consistently, regularly, you know?
Ouch. You're going to fail, fuckers.
I think the message, I think they know how they...
90% of you are going to fail.
Sorry,
no, I didn't mean to break your flow. That just cracked me up. Sorry.
No, yeah, I mean, the people who know me know probably how I mean this, but you know, I'm just saying this kind of a motivational message that 90% will fail, because then they would feel motivated to stay in that wheel and producing content. And at least this is how I get, you know, if somebody like really kicks my ass, this is where I start working. When somebody puts something negative on me, this is where I fire up and just go and make it better. You know, this is the stuff that drives me. Not necessarily insulting, but, you know, just kicking me. And so I would just go for building this content consistently. And as you can see, you know, with all of you guys, with all of you brilliant guys, in this round, you just more or less did it regularly. I mean, I know, Christopher, you did like a challenge recently where you did put out a video.
I did a video a day for I think it was March. Yeah. It was
how did that go?
It went very well, actually. I think my traffic actually tripled or something. It was actually, yeah, it was very productive. And it was a lot of fun because I think ever since I started uploading since 2018, I've been able to put out at least one video per week. So it was another boost to just keep on going.
Yeah, but by the way, someone just mentioned that I shall not forget to tell my opinion on things.
Yes,
I'm
please.
saying I'm just the moderator. I don't have any opinion on anything. No,
Don't take control.
I'm just hosting this whole thing. No, but what I wanted to say regarding the YouTube stuff, what made you? I didn't answer what made me go into it. First of all, it was Alex and Daniel watching their videos. But the main thing for me was when I started doing videos, it was indeed a sense of like giving a little bit back, because I wanted to do the stuff that I was looking for and didn't find. So that was one of the things. So when I started out, a lot of that stuff was just non-existent, or at least I didn't know what to look for. And over the years, I got a lot of questions. How can you share secrets or anything like that? Which I don't really care at all about, because obviously I just want to state that from the get-go, if you do a complete track walkthrough with the decisions, what sample libraries you use and what EQ settings you do, of course someone out there could completely copycat that and get that same track done. But that's it.
They do.
What happens on the next stage? So the next track that I write has nothing to do with whatever anyone can copy. You cannot give away your own creativity. And if I help someone along the way with giving away these, I don't see them as secrets, but giving away these workflows or tips.
Techniques. Techniques,
Receipts. So that's a way of saying it. And if I give away, then help someone building their own voice and their own career out of it, I actually rather feel grateful than being threatened by the fact that I might educate another composer that can take my job or whatever.
Yeah,
that's not gonna happen.
They're coming for your job, Dirk. They're coming for your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say one of the reasons to get into this was the sense of giving back. I love educating as well. Like Blake said, it's something that I just enjoy. And honestly, I mean, so someone recently complained about one of my videos why there's like 4 commercials in the first 20 minutes. I didn't even know it was that much, so I needed to change my settings. But obviously, I mean, if you have a certain threshold, if a certain view count, like 10,000 subscribers, it's not like you get freaking rich of it, but if you can pay your power bill with that, that's fine, you know. And so I'm not in it for the money, but I also do not throw money away. So if I can make some bucks from that, of course I do. That's in my opinion, that's totally fine, because it's still I hate to say it like that, but it's still a lot of work that we put into that. And it's not only like here, go have it all. Of course, I expect a little bit of a return if I share something. Not in terms of that I want to get paid for it, but we all have our PayPal buttons on the website or something like that, asking for support.
Oh yeah, I'm for sale.
There is a PayPal. Right. So we have the Twitch button that people can apply. We set up a Patreon page to ask for support, because we all are in it to make a living from that. So I think people also need to understand that as much fun and game that is, and we're chatting around, we're still making a living from that. It is our job to create. And obviously we kind of can expect a little bit of a return that not necessarily has to be all in monetary terms. It can also be the recognition. I mean, we mentioned that in the beginning. Every like that comes in, you do it for the adrenaline that you have when you put up a video, when you have interaction with the audience, and you get a like. And someone just asked, what was the meanest comment you ever got on your video? What made you think? What made you put together these words? I think that's the other side of things. I mean, in this day and age, we have to do with trolls and all these guys that are just envious of what you do.
I thought you meant Foreman for a second. Then
No,
I was like, what?
not trolls. Troll.
No,
did I pronounce that wrong? Is it trolls?
I was like, what? No,
No,
no, no.
no.
Sorry, it's just that's where my brain went. I was like, Foreman?
same here. Yeah.
No, we're not talking about trolls.
Sorry, no,
trolls.
carry
We're
on.
talking about internet trolls.
sorry.
So I mean, that's the other
Proceed.
side of things. If you put yourself out there, you make yourself you build a platform for anyone, be it positive or negative, so both can happen. I mean, maybe you jump on that. What do you guys think? What was the worst experience you had with a comment on one of your videos or something like that? What made you cringe?
There's been too many.
Man, I've been shat on so often from so many directions from so many people. By this point, they all just kind of blur into this big,
You just build a
great
resistance.
shit.
Yeah.
It's just a wall of shit. I don't pay credence to it anymore. I heard a phrase, and I can't remember who said it, but I live by it now. It's don't take to heart criticism from someone you wouldn't turn to for advice.
Ooh.
And so if someone's going to criticize you, if you wouldn't turn to them for advice in the first place, why does it fucking matter if they tell you to go suck a dick because you don't like Spitfire? You know, it's like, what is life? What is the point of leaving a message like that? But anyway, you just can't let it get to you. You just got to kind of move on with it, you know? I honestly, right now, can't remember any of the negative ones because I don't care about them anymore. I genuinely do not care. Like if someone just is intentionally doing that, I just block it. I just block it. Like there's like people say freedom of speech. It's like, I don't care. It's like, they're contributing nothing positive. You know, why are they here in the first place?
It's something different when it's constructive, right?
Yeah. If they're saying that like this is bad because this, and this, and you could improve. I mean, obviously not being a cunt about it, but like, you know, coming and just saying it nicely or whatever.
Right. I
Absolutely fine. But if
what,
someone comes in and goes, "You suck," it's like, and goodbye.
Yeah, I love what Tom Hawk just said in the chat. He said like something, once you're at the point that you get negative comments on your videos, you do something right because you have something worth mentioning. So,
oh, that's a Churchill quote, isn't it? It's like, you've got enemies, good. It means you've stood up for something in your life.
yeah, right.
I have
I've
run across whole forum posts of like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages of people bashing my music on the Star Wars trailers.
Sorry, I was having a bad day.
But I love it. I actually love it. It doesn't bother me at all. I read it and got
Nice.
some popcorn and it was, you know what I mean? Like, people will always criticize you no matter what you do. And what DJ said is true. You got to choose who you listen to and whether you value what they say or not. And I actually understood the position where a lot of people were coming from. You know, like what I do with the Star Wars music in the trailers is a bit sacrilege to the traditional John Williams thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm actually simplifying it. I'm stripping it of all the John Williams and I'm making it a pop track, basically. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm doing that, but it's what the people want. It's what my clients want. And so yeah, I think you've got to have a thick skin with that kind of thing. And I think people who are triggered easily by trolls might want to refocus their energies on actually getting better at their music.
Cool. That's
Definitely. I think one thing, you have to convert it into that most of the time when somebody's criticizing you in a negative way or just insulting you, not criticizing, but insulting you, it's most of the time that, or let me put it different. Sometimes I get into a conversation with these guys and then you realize that they had a bad day, you know, like literally, I had a bad day. So it's like they had a problem. Something was happening during the day. They woke up and stepped into dog shit or whatever. And this automatically shaped their day. And then they stumble upon an email from me and saying, no, I'm sorry, I don't have time. So or some YouTube comment when they just, or like Blake said, you know, they were, you know, bashing his music. These are probably people who are either, how do you say, envious by not having the opportunity on writing music for a Star Wars trailer. I mean, Star Wars, yeah.
It's
But
freaking
that's
huge.
the thing. You can track. You can track
that's an
how.
awesome
how
job.
oh, I was gonna say you could track like how like the progression of your career and how well you're doing by how much people objectify you when they talk about you on forums and stuff. Like, so I noticed when I got, you know, removed from a certain forum, like people stop talking about you like a human being. They talk about you like an object. And I've noticed that I get that in my YouTube comments. I get that in Twitter now.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? So you put something up and then people don't talk about you as though you're even there. You know what I mean? It's like, I disagree with this thing, or I disagree with that thing. Or this guy, you know, he sucks because of this. And it's like, it's completely irrelevant to what you're talking about. But you can usually tell, like, if you're doing right by the less humanized you are when people talk about you. If they talk about you more of like a thing, then you're doing good. Then they consider you a legitimate thing. Like,
and
that's
they
the thing. If they're talking about you as yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you get beyond the point of them talking about you as a person, you are important enough in their life that they have objectified you to a thing that they discuss, you know, like
compensate their own personal problems, probably.
Yeah, you are a topic in their mind, you know, like you're not even a human anymore. You are an agenda. You are a thing.
That's pretty cool.
Chris, any negative experience on your end so far?
Yeah, well, my channel is small enough that I can actually go onto my comments page and literally hide user from channel that get too extreme. So I've had a few instances of those for sure. And it's just like for myself, mental health. Like, I'm not at the point where I can just block it out and move on just yet. It's like, I'm just naturally, I think, a sensitive person. So it does get to you sometimes, of course. But
I mean, you're Canadian, so anyone can.
There you go. See, that's the explanation. There's the reason.
You rather apologize for having a video up there that offended someone.
I'm sorry. That's how it works.
Yeah,
the comments are like, Chris, you suck, and you're like, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry for putting my video up in the funny.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, there was I think we are moving on a little bit more to the tech side of things, of not necessarily YouTube related, but being composer related. So a lot of questions, and I got that before the stream as well, and two guys asked that now as well. Pretty much the approach template versus no template when creating new music. What do you think is if there is any better approach, or why do you choose to work with a template or to choose not to work with a template? Maybe you start with Chris on this one.
But wait, how many of you actually use templates?
Well,
Raise your hand.
Guilty.
Who doesn't use a template?
Maybe
it's a better
That is
question.
a multi-layered answer.
Yeah, me too. Me too, Daniel.
Yeah.
Well, because when I look at your streams, Daniel, I'm confused because it looks kind of like a template, but then it's kind of not a template as well.
Looks like a template,
I'm intrigued about what your thoughts on this.
Well, what is
It's context. 3, 4, 5,
I look
6,
at your
7, 8.
stream and what is this? It looks like a template, but it ain't a template.
No. Okay, so I used a template for my orchestra because I nerd out on the orchestra heaps. Like, I've literally spent years just tweaking the imaging and the reverb and the EQs on my orchestra, and I update it all the time. And so my orchestra is a thing, right? It's its own thing. And so I very much have a specific template for that. And then everything else is kind of fair game for me. So I kind of just, every other project that needs, you know, different synths and different other sound design and stuff like that, there's no way for me to really template that effectively. Yeah. I'm interested on your thoughts on this, everyone else, especially you, Daniel.
Well, yeah. So my template's empty, right? So it looks like a template.
See,
I agree.
Is that a template?
Let me explain myself. Let me explain myself. I've got a whole thing lined up. Don't make me forget it again.
Okay,
sorry. Starting to go. Right. So, no, my template is basically, it looks like a template. So I have a section for strings, brass, percussion, all the sections. But they're basically just a folder with empty MIDI channels pointed to a singular instrument track of contact that's empty. Right. And the reason I do that is when I get into a project, I don't want to just rely on what I've already loaded up, because I know that given the opportunity, humans are lazy creatures. So if I load up instruments, I'm going to use the instruments I've loaded. So with nothing loaded, I have to use my brain. I have to think, OK, what do I actually want it to do? What do I want it to sound like? Because I'm going to have to load a string anyway. Might as well load one that's perfect for what I'm doing. Right. So I do that, and and that's how I fill up that empty template. But then if I'm going, like if I'm in a project or something, if I'm doing like a movie or a video game, like on Maneater that I just finished, like the first day or first week, I spent making like the tracks which define it. And then I saved those as templates. So I was like, it's almost like that kind of like the suite concept, like writing ideas and then using the thing. So I have my empty template. I think about the project, I load the best things for it, and then I save that as the project template, and then I'll use that for the project rather than just using like a set orchestral template for the, you know, for everything. So yeah, like I don't have a template loaded all the time, but I basically create one every time. Yeah.
So actually, someone just wrote here. It's almost like, so someone just wrote, is that a template or a shell? I like that. Yours is more like a shell. Hey,
yeah,
like you
mine's
constructed a shell that
exactly.
you then. I like that word.
Yeah,
it's a prepped. It's a prepped empty template ready to go.
On my end. So I was working for years with my big template with like pretty much 2,000 MIDI tracks all onto slave machines and everything. Which allowed me, because I knew it, or I know it inside out, I can write very fast with it. So when I know I have a bunch of production music tracks to do like tension tracks or whatever, where I need my brass, my strings, and all that good stuff, I can fire it up and I can write 3 cues in a day. That's no issue there. So, and I don't think about loading sounds or what sounds I need. I just click the corresponding channels and just keep on writing. And it's all pre-mixed, all done. So I pretty much just export afterwards. I'm done. So that's for the fast approach. Recently, I came to find that, so I'm a Cubase. By the way, just on a side note, what we guys at? I think most of us are Cubase. So you're Logic, Chris, right?
I'm Logic, yeah.
Blake Cubase, Dan Cubase.
I'm a newly converted GarageBand user.
Oh yeah, I see that.
But yeah, I recently realized that the downside of having that huge blown up template is that Cubase can get a little bit laggy overall in terms of performance. Not Cubase necessarily, but rather my system. Although I'm actually on the latest i9 processor.
Need to get yourself a better computer there, Dirk. Can't
yeah, mine's going fine, Dirk.
For your computer problems.
There you
Bit
go.
rude.
And,
Can't blame it on Cubase.
and so, but one of the main reasons why I switched, and actually Daniel, you kind of pushed me into that realm. So I had that shell approach now as well.
Wait, what? I didn't push him. I didn't touch him. What did I do?
Especially in these days, no physical contact.
Okay.
But yeah, I love the idea of having these shells, and I just took it a little bit further for my approach of having everything pre-routed and having all the group settings done. So what I have when I open my Contact now, I have pretty much 16 empty instruments sitting there, like violin 1, violin 2, viola, cello. So when I load from the quick load menu, and I actually love the Contact quick load menu, I completely got rid of the library panel view because I hate scrolling all the way down to look for a sound, and the quick load is actually amazing for that, because right click and I just created all these empty instruments within that Contact instance to know where I need to put the cello when I load it, because then I know that it's already routed to its cello group, etc., where I have all the other stuff sitting. And this actually forced me to, like you mentioned, Daniel, when starting on a track, not relying on all the sounds that are preloaded and kind of running into the danger of sounding the same every time. You write something, but rather think about before loading a sound, okay, do I want to go with cinematic studio strings? Do I actually want to have some Spitfire sounds there? Do I want to go with whatever string library I have at hand? And rather...
Can I give you a tip, Dirk? Can I give you a quick tip?
Yeah,
so you know how you use the quick load? What? Yeah, let me give you a Spitfire tip. No, the quick load thing. You know how you said you close the library tab? Like I do the similar thing to you. Like I have them in the quick load, for when I know that I need them. But what I like to do is I like to just move around in that library tab, libraries that I haven't used for ages, and I'll just put them at the top. So then, like, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I could give that a go. And it just makes you think in a completely different way, because we have so many samples that we just don't use that are still decent, because at the end of the day, they're just sounds. You know what I mean? Just because they were recorded 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's like you have different colors in the shelf that you choose to paint your picture.
So the library tab for me is like the inspiration tab. So whenever you see me stream, you'll always see like Mysteria and Thrill and things that just make my brain go in a different direction. And then I'll always load the things I'm looking like. If I go, oh, I need this, I'll usually go to the quick load because I know where it is.
In your decision, are you more driven by the graphics of the library? Is that what inspires you?
Oh, I'm a fucking magpie. If something's shiny, I'll just gravitate towards it. I'll be like, I don't care if it sounds shit. We're putting Mysteria in. That Mysteria doesn't sound shit, by the way. Just so we're clear on that. Yeah, and by the way, I don't actually use GarageBand. I just want to be clear for anyone watching this on YouTube VODs. Any potential
all the kiddos running out now, grabbing GarageBand from the Apple Store.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
anyway.
But yeah, wanted to finish
Inspiration,
that. The big template, I still use it when I need to work fast and know that this is exactly the sounds that I'm using for what I'm going to do. But I do love the freedom that empty shell template approach gives me in exploring not new sounds, because I still have them already, but I forgot about them that I had. The same as you, like when you scroll through the library panel, and what I did is I just have the same grouping that I have in my overall template, like strings, brass, woodwinds, etc. I have the same groups in my quick load now, and if I click on strings, then I have all developers like Heaviosity, Spitfire, or AT or whatever, and that. Just the fact alone to build this quick load, this is the painful process to build your quick load menu, because that takes some time, because you need to sift through all your libraries and drag them in manually. But that actually helped me to realize what kind of shit I actually have, because once I got to the drives that are not SSDs but HDDs, then you realize, oh, I have shit ton of stuff lying there that I haven't touched in years. But once it's in the quick load, it kind of reminds me of and explore more sonic possibilities that I wouldn't have done in the regular template that I use. So that's my take there. Alex, what do you do?
Well, to be honest, I transitioned to the shell or shelf approach too, in a way, because to be honest, I have to say that I got really frustrated with Cubase recently. I mean, I'm a Cubase user and I'm a Studio One user, and it's always like, I hate you, and I run to the other one.
Sorry, guys, I just read a comment that I loved. Contact should have an inbuilt feature. You haven't used Symphonia in 490 days.
That's a good idea. That is actually a great idea. You haven't used this.
Awesome.
Well, it's some libraries deserve not to be used for that long, but anyway.
Well, some very expensive ones. What? Who's
So
talking?
you use shells too now, Alex?
Yeah, so
Kristen, what about you?
Say, and I just got kind of frustrated with Cubase because I already spent like a few days building like a big template with not really that much. I was still building it. And then suddenly I started, hey, you don't need to worry about that sloppy behavior. The more tracks you have in there by deactivating them. So you would just have like maybe 4 or 5 tracks going and the rest is deactivated. So technically you could have an entire template of like, like just making up something like 1,000 or 2,000 tracks. And they would be all deactivated sitting there except the basic stuff. So basically you could load in everything you want or everything you need. However, recently something happened, and every time I reactivate a track, it starts up as a solo defeated track. Means like when you solo another track or you mute or when you solo another track, this track always stays on solo defeat. So what do? You go in there, left click, shift alt, and you have to solo defeat it, unarm it. And I can't find what's the problem. It's somehow baked in.
That doesn't do that for me.
Huh?
That doesn't happen to me. That's weird.
Yeah, it's probably because it's me, because I feel sometimes it's like all these things happen to me all the time, and it's crazy. And I would really love to go over to Studio One, because the approach of building or working with Studio One is absolutely awesome, because you have that sidebar and you can just save presets, my awesome legato strings, and you just drag them over. You need a reverb, you just drag them over from the sidebar. So it's like you're sitting, like you're dragging stuff in, you just mix it, like cooking. You just put it all on the plate.
And I love that pattern sequencer.
Yeah, it's really awesome. But then they have a problem or an issue with negative delay. And when you work with important libraries like Nucleus or performance samples, the flute shorts and all this stuff, you need like at least minus 100 milliseconds of a negative delay. Otherwise, the legato isn't right, or the spiccato transitions, And so I once arranged a track for an upcoming game, but I was totally unhappy because that was basically the reason why I switched back to Cubase. And now recently Cubase introduced this funny bug. I mean, hopefully they fix it, but this was one of the reasons, spending like 10 years with templates and doing videos, template talk and talking about how to set up stuff, that I changed back to that. Fuck it, just load empty instances and route them all and just drag in what you need.
Yeah, but that's also another thing. I mean, working overall with templates, I think there's no denying that whatever type of template helps speed up the workflow, because you don't create everything from scratch and repeat all the steps when creating a new track. But also, on the other hand, once you get into the rabbit hole, you have to remind yourself that this is a never-ending, ongoing journey to find. Once you grow in your approach, when you acquire new libraries, how many of you guys have bought a library twice in your time? I did.
Yeah, once
I certainly did.
I did.
I bought a library a second time because I didn't realize I had it already.
I forgot I had it too. Yeah.
So and it's an ongoing approach, and it ever changes. And we had these deactivate templates, then we had VE Pro, and everything has. I think I'm meanwhile at a point in my composer life where I have just several templates for several purposes. And it's like Daniel mentioned at the beginning, you have different colors in the shelf, and depending on what you want to paint, you know what colors you need to choose. And in the end, it all comes down to helping you get the work done ASAP.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think for me personally, and I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think I ever, rarely use a template. I know.
I love how much you preface that, by the way, like you'd shot someone. Now, you're all going to hate this. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, I personally see like the process of choosing track by track almost like, like you've all been talking about, starting from scratch, completely from scratch, and then saying like, okay, the tone of this piece is going to be like this. So what kind of instrument do I want here? And if it's a string library, what string library is that going to be? Because then you have to know the ins and outs of your samples and how they all sound together. So it's like it's actually a fun process going through, and it usually doesn't take too long. I mean, my computer actually takes a while to load the samples themselves. But the only time I'll really ever use a template is if I'm writing in a genre that specifically only uses certain instruments. Like if it's jazz band ensemble, then that's like I'm definitely using this specific library for those 16 instruments or something like that, But other than that, I really love working from scratch.
Yeah, in my template, I used to do this thing, and like what I would do is I would just drag, like if I was going for unique or I was trying to be like artsy fartsy or wanky or whatever, I would just like drag in a sample without auditioning it. I drag in like 5 or 6 samples, and then just my job was to make it work, Yeah. Like that was always a fun thing. Like you wouldn't do that so much with like a full template, It's just like It'd be too chaotic to do that. But like sometimes I'll just crack open Ableton Live, which I still use, by the way. So like talking about templates and stuff, my template in Ableton is exactly the same as my template in Cubase in the way it's structured. But like if I'm doing EDM or like, again, if I want to do something really sound designy, I can just jump into Ableton Live and work the exact same way. I just wish that Ableton would let me change the key commands so that I can trigger the stop go with does anybody else use that? The keypad for like 0 is stop, 1 is back to marker 1, and enter is go. And has anybody else here sent a message to someone like on Slack or something that just says 010101?
Definitely Discord all the time.
1111111 enter, and you're like, what? Why is the music still playing? And you look over and someone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's just like 0101 GH GGGGGHHH. Sorry.
It happened to an audio director, and he was like, what is going on? It's like 1111.
Yeah, 1111 every time.
It's the same thing as your track naming, like final version, final, fuck it, now it's the real final.
Oh, sorry. Can I just put? Can we please all scorn whoever decided that F1 on the keyboard should load up the internet and then go to the manual of Cubase? Whoever decided that should be taken out the back and beaten with a shoe.
Definitely.
The amount of times I'm like, right, okay, I'm just going to push number 1 on the keyboard. Oh, no, apparently I'm going to Chrome. Am I? Right, okay, I'm going to browse the internet for 10 minutes. It doesn't work with my porn addiction. Like, once it's open, you've got, like, you've got time.
There you go.
What? Anyway, move on, Dirk. Quickly,
yeah, on a
move
side note,
Dirk.
On a side note, I just want to mention, I just checked the numbers. We're with Twitch and YouTube combined, we're close to 300 viewers. So thank you all for tuning in. This is amazing. Awesome. I actually love that. And I will, when
I've made a huge mistake.
when that goes up online afterwards, depending on if we don't fuck it up. I
We
will
probably
post
will.
the links to all your guys' channels so the people can definitely follow along and get notification
cool.
with the bell and everything when you go live and have all these thingies going on. That's cool. Talking about libraries and buying libraries twice and stuff like that and templates, one question was, I found that pretty interesting, maybe a quick answer from each one of you. If you could only work with a free library or with some free stuff, what would you get?
Ooh, I like this question.
Can I be wanky and say I'd make them myself?
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
of course.
like if I was forced to be using free stuff anyway, I would probably use Spitfire Labs. I'd probably use all of them. Project Sam. I'd probably use the entire gambit of free stuffs in reality. But if like we were in that situation, I'd much rather just try recording shit myself. Like I've got enough to write a score. I feel,
Good point.
you know, with just
Good
a
point there.
microphone and my synths.
But if we
That killed that conversation.
If you don't have a mic available right now to record something, do you know of anything that's free available on the market that you actually do?
Okay,
like?
so one of my good friends, Jasper Blunk, who has also made a lot of the
Oh, fuck.
samples that I use, he has a lot of good freebies. Well, actually, I think he may have just stopped them.
I
They
think
may
he
have just stopped them,
discontinued
but they were
them, yeah.
great when they were.
Ah,
Well, thank
Angry
you.
It was called Angry. It was called Angry Brass. I
Yes,
think
yeah.
it was. the free-
Amazing.
and that was better than a lot of other brass that you could even pay for.
Yeah.
Um,
I just remembered a really good one, by the way. Does anybody here have the G-Town percussion?
Yes.
G-Town percussion.
Yes.
G-Town percussion is the greatest percussion library, but you have to search for it. If I
Tobias
remember, sorry,
Marburger.
I just need to explain this. It's from what I heard, and again, I apologize if I get this wrong, but the story I like is that like there was a conversation with a developer at the time who was adamant that no, percussion must be recorded dry, so that you can add reverb later. And then this guy comes along and he's like, nah, record it with the room mics. It will sound more real. And everybody was like, nah, you're talking shit. So the dude just went and recorded it and gave it away for free. Like, fuck you. And it's one of the greatest percussion libraries ever made.
Nice.
Funny, I've never heard of
G-Town,
that.
but it's hard to
I've
find.
used
I
that a
got
lot.
mine as an old Giga file and I converted it with Contact. But like I did that in like 2008. So good luck. It was back in the days of torrents, if you remember those, when that was a thing.
I've
The
never
good old
heard of those
Emule
before.
times.
No, the legit torrents, that was the only way you could get it.
Yeah.
Like was through torrents because it's free. It's not like I'm not pirating it. It was a free library
Yeah, right.
given away, but the only way to get hold of it was to go through a torrent.
Oh,
It was
But I think
green.
there was a website, right, at some point where he
Yeah, but it got shut
distributed
down.
them.
That's the thing. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. It's like, and all the files are like,
Yeah.
you know, the links have expired and stuff. So you have to like dig for it. I mean, I have it. I could just upload it to you guys and not be a dick. But then again, I'm lazy. So like, again, swings and roundabouts.
You don't want to give your secrets away, right?
What other free stuff is there? Like I'm actually trying to think now. I know Spitfire just released their
Yeah,
thing,
I know
which is
that.
pretty
I
cool
wanted
for
to
free.
mention Spitfire, the Lab series. I mean, they have a shit ton of stuff in there.
Yeah, I
with
use some of them.
great sounding instruments. I use some of these on stuff that I worked on. I love their cimbalom, for example, from the Lab series. It's a great sound. If you layer that with piano, it's such a nice texture. So that is definitely a great start for free stuff. The Spitfire Lab series.
Yeah, let me just add in there. Orchestral Tools has their layers, which is
Oh, that's
basically
so
a
cool.
Correct,
chordal library.
true.
The only thing it just doesn't have is a legato feature. So when you play one chord to another, it doesn't automatically turn off the previous chord, which a library like CineOrc from Cinesamples does have. The other one is Project Sam's The Free Orchestra, and they actually made it for a Contact Player now, which is really, really
Good.
cool. But it's basically excerpts from their
they?
Symphobia
Yeah,
series.
I think it's
And
derived
can
from
do
the
all
their other
Symphobia
stuff.
series, right?
Yeah, and True Strike and Lumina, like all their big collections. And then they released them all for free over like a course of a few months. And then they repackaged it into this free thing for Contact Player. So
Dude, you're just talking about free libraries. You just made me realize how many fucking sample libraries there are in the world. I
There's
just
too
had like
many.
an existential crisis. I
yeah,
was like, sweet Jesus, there's so many.
it's so many. But it's amazing. It's like everyone's trying to. And then, of course, BBC Discover came out, right? So that one's also free.
Indeed, it did.
Quickly, sorry, I have to go to pee. I will be back.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Actually,
Love
I
the
have the
story.
same
Love
problem,
the
but I'm
story.
hosting this thing.
We'll host it, Dirk.
No,
It's
dude,
okay.
You
that
can go,
was-
We'll host
Dirk,
it.
you can go take a slash. I'll take over.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
I mute myself and I will hand it over to Daniel for a moment. I will be back
There we
in a
go.
second.
Okay.
That's
So, guys,
risky
what's
as.
the industry? What's the
Intimate.
industry like over in Australia? Like we didn't
Yes.
hear
Mate,
about that.
it's pretty slow over here, eh? I've tried to
Well, that's
find work
just the
in
people,
Australia
innit?
before,
Boy,
but I just don't. The work doesn't.
Sorry.
Daniel, oh my goodness.
Sorry, I couldn't resist it. You teed that one up, and I just wanted to knock it out of the park.
No,
Sorry,
I
go
invited
ahead.
that one. I invited.
It's already gone off the rails. Sorry, sorry.
Oh,
I'm a dick.
shit.
Carry on. I'm a
Dirk,
shit.
Come back.
Nah, dude. So one of your videos that you did you the How to Train Your Dragon video? You uploaded that, right? Like I watched that on YouTube.
I think I just chucked that on SoundCloud.
On SoundCloud, that was one of the greatest recreations, and I've found that about most YouTube in general. Is a lot of the videos are like covers and mock-ups and interpretations of things, and it's so cool for me. The thing that I learn most, because obviously my skill, like I'm over the skill bar, most of us are. But the thing I like to watch is when someone's interpreting a piece of music in their own kind of style. I like to see that because I get to see like a different through line of that piece of music that I didn't see before. Like I'm getting a look into how that person's heard the music, the emotion that they took away from it. And sometimes it doesn't line up with mine. So I always find that the most interesting to like look at. Did you guys find that particularly with like when you hear like, the new YouTube composer scene? Do you tend to find that like it's interesting hearing their voice?
What?
Yeah, I think you could press the set again.
Take it away, Dirk. Dirk, it wasn't anything of note. Continue.
You did a not bad job, DJ.
Yeah,
that
was
Thank
amazing.
you so much for taking over there. But it's
Yeah.
way more relaxed now. To
And the
moderate
German
this whole thing.
suitably pee-free. It's all the beer. That's what it is. It's all the German beer.
Yeah, there we go. So
You
Alex
know,
is
Miss-
back as
the
well.
main reason why I do remakes in general, like that's my way of like learning. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm just trying to figure out how to get my stupid virtual instruments to sound like something that's real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
reverse engineering.
not only like the virtual, like the MIDI massaging side of it, but for me, I nerd out heaps on the mixing side of it all as well.
Right.
So trying to just force things to sound real is doing mock-ups.
Did you see that?
And by the
tweet I
way,
put out? Oh, go on.
no, the other really good thing about doing mock-ups of existing pieces is you absorb the orchestration and all the techniques that the composer used to make it, and you end up translating it into your own work, and it's just a cool way of learning. It works.
Yeah, because you're critically analyzing even like those little features, those little things.
You're
you
literally having to be every person in the orchestra or whatever,
Exactly,
and so that's cool.
That's
get to
by the
experience.
way, that's another. I was talking to Alex when we were testing the environment this morning. Zoom is working, everything. We were talking about that.
I thought you guys just went and had a chat then.
Yeah. So I really like that, and this goes along with the job we are doing. I mean, as Alex mentioned, he's a guitarist. I play decently keys and can find my way around, and you're a cellist, Blake, as we all know. One tip that I can give when people ask how do you achieve realism in the instruments is, even if you don't learn to play violin, but just fucking grab the instrument at some point in your life and have it in your hand and get an understanding of how...
My cursing's rubbed off on Dirk.
just grab it in your hand and see how it feels, even if you don't get a decent tone out of it, but at least you write differently once you had your hands on an actual physical instrument and or try to blow a trumpet. Suddenly you start to realize that it may be a good idea to have breathing pauses in between the lines and something like that to just make it a little bit more realistic. So what I want to say is get out of your comfort zone, even if you try to get in touch with a music school in your area or with a university or anything that has instruments available, or go to orchestra settings, something like that, and try to get a deeper understanding of what that instrument sounds like in real life.
Because the most of the stuff that I hear that I think's probably that I admit doesn't sound great, I think it's because the people they haven't really internalized what that instrument actually sounds like, or they don't really understand what an orchestra actually sounds like. Do you know what I mean? So it's an uphill battle to then try and recreate it if you don't understand the intricacies of it all, and whether that's by just listening to it heaps or by, like you said, picking up an instrument.
So one tip on the side there. Question for Christopher. I just see here, since you have a piano background, how much do you care about the keybed of MIDI controller, and which one do you use?
Yeah, For me, the feeling is actually quite a lot to do with how I end up performing it in real time, I think. Because the best way to perform natural lines, I think, is to play with one hand and then use the mud wheel for the other. But in general, I like a heavier feel, and the one I use is Arturia's Keylab 88. So it's on the pricier side. It's like $1,000 or something. But it comes in black and white. It has all the knobs and stuff you pretty much need, and it feels great. It's a little on the heavy side as well. So if you're looking for something that's maybe a little bit lighter, maybe Checo Completes or something. I'm not sure of that many options, to be honest. Daniel wants to say something, but I'm just, from my experience,
I'm 12 years old. It's just that the knob comment just made me laugh. All the knobs you could need. It just caught me off. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to
My
laugh.
apologies.
I'm sorry to distract you. I'm literally a child. I'm sorry.
No.
Talking about live instrument, there was a question in the chat. Who of us has worked with live orchestra yet?
Oh, Chris.
I know.
I'm
he's
sorry.
the baby,
as he said. So.
That's like we were shaming him.
Yeah, exactly.
You pleb.
What a setup.
Chris,
what a setup.
Yeah. No, it's actually definitely a goal. Especially at the end of this year. I wrote a big band chart for jazz bands, so I'm definitely looking forward to having that played by live musicians.
I loved every single second of the experience, be it in working with a string quartet. If someone is somewhere playing your music that you kind of thought in that strange brain of yours, and someone else is performing it, it's the greatest thing ever. The only thing that I regret about having the experience of working with live musicians is going back afterwards and work in the box.
You're spoiled,
again. This sucks.
Yeah.
You want to make sure everything has been recorded with click.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. But yeah, there is especially for a composer, I think it's kind of it always felt like a little threshold, like wherever you are in your career, it's that point when you kind of finally get to work with live performances of your stuff. It's kind of a little threshold that you cross. It's like it's a very special moment. At least that's what it felt like for me.
Way to call me out, guys. Nice. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Correct. And there was also a question of, do you consider that there's a lot of development in online courses, training for composers? Evanen comes to mind. Evanen courses, that's what I know of. Trailer, sound design courses and stuff like that. Do you guys see that comparable to the standard education from back then at university or whatever? So can you make your way with these kind of online offers that are available nowadays? Is that comparable, or do you see a major difference between the two education types?
I think it depends on the way you learn. Some people can learn just by reading a book. Like a lot of people can't. Some people need to see something, explained to them, shown to them. Some people need to do it for themselves before they get it. So it just depends on the kind of person you are. Like some people are really good at school and some people are really shit at school. But the people who are shit at school aren't always failures in life. You know what I mean? They're just not good at the academia side of it. So for those types of people, learning by yourself is usually better. Like I did really badly in school. For some reason, I just, I can't focus in a school-like environment. And I did go to music school to learn to be a singer, but I only did it for 2 years. I was a good boy for the first year, and then the second year I fell apart. I got bored, as you tend to do, which is just
right.
Yeah, that I got sent out of classrooms and stuff. I'm like, I'm an adult. Hello. I shouldn't be sent out of the classroom. Anyway, but you know what I mean? It's so like I learned a lot of what I did, just on the internet because the information's there. But that's not to say like there's something to be said about someone correcting you when you're making a mistake. Because sometimes it's like singing is a good example because you can sing and practice all you want, but if no one's correcting your bad habits, then you're going to have those bad habits and you will sound like the end result will be poor, So it's always good to have someone, even if you're learning by yourself, it's good to have someone whose work you respect, genuinely listen to your work and give you honest feedback. And if you're asking for honest feedback, you can't get pissed off if they give you like, this isn't very good. You have to get through that stage. So like, if you're learning by yourself, you have to have like a corrector. You have to have someone who makes sure that like, they're checking for any bad habits you're forming, because that's what school excels at, is like it's discipline. It's getting those bad habits out so that that's what the academia is about. It's the discipline of learning a subject under a set of rules. Like that's the rules of the game. You know what I mean? You don't talk during lessons. You don't go out. You don't do this. You focus. Whereas when you do it by yourself, you could be having a wank while doing it. You know what I mean? There's no rules when you're learning something. So you've just got to kind of do it. But anyway, so both that you can have a career either way, but it depends on how you learn. And it depends on if you have someone you trust to actually correct you. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's one reason so many people jump into courses with a community aspect, like membership sites and just online courses in general that have some sort of homework assignments or things where the author or the director will actually go over your work for you, and that just brings the value up so much more. And just in general, like the concept of an online course is so much more affordable than 3 to 4 years of school. And usually you can learn, all that condensed information pretty well in a well-structured course. So I like Daniel said, it's just down to personal taste, what you prefer to learn. But I think courses are a wonderful thing if they're done correctly.
Yeah. Blake, as coming from an educational background, what's your take on? I just wanted to cite one. Just want to say one thing that I read in the chat that I find interesting. Of course, 15 hours of video course cannot substitute 3 to 4 years of education at a university, of course. But maybe 5 courses with 15 hours each can.
I think, surprisingly, I find myself agreeing with Daniel again. Love you, bro. It totally depends what kind of learner you are. I actually went to university to study how to do to study composition and music and all that in general. And I wasn't a person who did very well at school either. I can only focus on things that I know that I'm very interested in. And for me, I found the music official, education to be too broad for the specific area that I wanted to go into, which was, creating orchestral music with a computer. And so I quickly turned to online courses. Mike Verda, I've signed up to a bunch of his stuff. He has some great masterclasses on orchestration and stuff like that. Joel Doyley, I don't know how do we say his last name. He just put out an awesome.
I think it's French. Joel Doyley. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but he's got a really good mixing course that is as well that I learned heaps from. There is, like, if you're the kind of person that's motivated enough, you can learn everything that you want from the internet easily, and you can self-direct your own learning. And I don't really think that you're at a disadvantage anymore by not having a piece of paper that says you can do the job.
And can I just point out, like, learning doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go to an educational video. Like we are all YouTube composers here. Like, you can learn just by watching people work. Like you have to, when you're trying to educate yourself, you have to know what you're trying to achieve. The more specific what it is you're trying to learn, the more likely you are to actually learn it, because then you'll start absorbing the information when it's given to you, even when you're not paying attention. So if you're like, I need to sound like Hans Zimmer, you can get close to that just by listening to Hans Zimmer. Then if you see someone who's writing like Hans Zimmer, you'll get even better. That's what I'm saying. It's like your brain.
Try recreating Hans Zimmer track.
Exactly. Yeah. It's and like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like I could totally like. I swear I saw a video of your How to Train Your Dragon thing. Maybe
I did. I've forgotten what I put up there.
But like, just looking at it, I looked at it. I just watched one playthrough, and I was like, fuck yeah, like that makes so much sense. You know what I mean? And I learned something just by seeing stuff that, like, it's just like those stupid things that you should have known. Like you see like a little technique, and you're like, why haven't I been doing that?
Yeah, it's like,
so like that is
I get heaps of light bulb moments from that. It's like, oh, so Powell's doing that with the trombones, and he's doing power chords with this voicing, and it always works. And so I'm going to use that too.
Yeah. Exactly. And it doesn't always have to be a technique. Sorry, it doesn't always have to be a technique either. It's like learning the little tricks that make you faster, because there's something that needs to be said. Being a composer, speed is an actual genuine thing you need a lot of the time. And so when you're watching people, don't just watch for the music thing. Watch how they're loading things quicker than you load them, and be like, wait, how did you do that?
Yeah,
And
watch
so that
how
you
they
can-
use shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts and
Yes,
stuff like that.
that's important education as well. That's as important as the music sometimes,
Absolutely
because
true,
sometimes you're only
absolutely
given a
true.
week to write an hour, you know? So
Yeah,
you know,
right. And
be
actually
ready.
talking about, I'm with Blake on that. Joel Dollier, I think that's the way to pronounce his last name. He just wrote in the chat. Absolutely recommended course, and that brings me to a question that I was asked before the stream. Being a composer nowadays obviously involves more than just writing some black dots on a piece of paper and then hand it out to your team. But it involves, obviously laying down the MIDI and then mixing, and a lot of times, especially in the field of production music, mastering as well. So how do you guys feel about the fact doing that all in one
Love it.
person, or
So
do
much fun.
you prefer to have you worked with mixing engineers before? Have you handed out to have your stuff mixed by someone else? What's
To
your
be honest-
experience, and what do you like about it, or what do you don't like about it?
To be honest, Dirk, if I could have my way, I would roll out of the bed in the morning and just shout music, and then like a team would go away and they would just form it together.
Oh, you're not far off from that, Danielle. Just trust me.
Feed me, no, like
It's coming.
if I had my way. But I do enjoy the fact. So I came from, I imagine some of you guys did as well, came from more of like a song background. Like I was in a band kind of thing, you know, so it was all
Same.
about learning the techniques and stuff anyway. So, you know, sorry, go on, someone else have a go.
Hey,
Yeah.
so I think a big part of my, the reason why I'm able to do what I do now is not necessarily because I write good music, but it's because
But it
I
helps.
nerded out with how to use virtual instruments. Do you know what I mean? I actually got my first job, I think, and I hadn't really written music before, but I'd done a lot of mock-ups. Do you know what I mean? So I think that I think these days you kind of need to be able to, if you can't produce something that sounds amazing, you need to pay someone who can. Otherwise, you're at risk of not really getting any work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I agree. Like I came from like a sound design background as well, you know, like doing the rock stuff. So it kind of contributes, you know, towards those future goals, you know.
Alex, what about you? You like the
We have
mixing
to
side of
agree.
things, or
Sorry?
you like the mixing side of things, or would you rather have someone else do it, or what's your take on it?
Well, I'm always happy, you know, when there's a live session going on, when some game track or something will be recorded with a live session, I would always happy to go, you know, call my orchestrator and say, I sent you the MIDI files, you know, because I don't want to waste any time with it. And it's not because I don't like, you know, music theory or, you know, working out how or a perfect arrangement for the orchestra, but they're better people at this. And the same goes for mixing and mastering. If there is somebody saying, hey, deliver that trailer album, but just, you know, make it stems and we will take care of the rest, we will mix it and master it, I would say, I'm happy, just do it, because there are pros sitting there and doing it. And if there's a budget, I wouldn't have a problem to just call. So I called some mastering studio to master me a track I've written for a sample library, which was rejected, by the way, but that's how it goes sometimes. But I find it, nevertheless, very vital to just, as you said before, you know, grabbing like a violin or a cello and just see how it works. You definitely have to get a feeling for mixing, mastering, and all these things which are involved. And beyond that, you have to get into marketing too, you know, nowadays. So how to promote yourself, how to build your brand and all these things. So definitely
I feel like
a must.
I feel like the more you do it all yourself as well, the more of a control freak you actually become with it all. You know what I mean? So the more like you get used to your own particular way of mixing and mastering. And then when you have to hand it off and they're like, can you just render that like 6 dB lower? And you're like, how about you go fuck yourself? Like, you know, like that's how you feel. Obviously you don't say that, but it's like you get very particular about it.
Don't.
It's always the thing as well when they're like, oh, this will be good when it's mixed. And I'll be like, what did you say? What do you mean? Like, and it's like your final
Especially
mix,
when you
and you're like,
spend
excuse me?
5 nights on getting the mix
That's
right.
actually a really good point, and I'm still going like I went through a big phase where what I thought sounded good actually probably didn't sound as good as what I thought it did. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And part of that's another whole topic of ear training. That and this leads to a question you asked a while back, which is what was something you would tell yourself, 5 years ago? I would say train your damn ears. Do you know what I mean? Like, learn, be able to identify frequencies like that. because that helps so much. Learn to hear compression, you know, if you're someone who's wanting to actually make, you know, good sounding mixes, because what you think sounds good doesn't always sound good to the rest of the world.
Yeah, funny enough that you mentioned that. What I found for myself is that over time, getting a deeper understanding of, like you mentioned, frequencies and how especially certain instrument ranges interact, helped me to also orchestrate better and write better, because I know I can't slam the double basses and the trombones and the low woodwinds, everything in the same place, because it's just a big pile up of low end shit. So understanding more of the mixing side of things helped me to actually get better before the actual mixing happens and make it sound good already.
Like orchestration is literally old school mixing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and as I learn more about mixing, I see, oh, John Williams does this thing with his brass, and then later on I understand why, because the way the frequencies work together makes so much more sense from a mixing perspective. You know, it's literally just all mixing. Like,
it's like putting high string, high piccolo all together. You know, like, and it'd be super shrill. It's like, you don't do that because, so I'm going to EQ it and then put that down on a clarinet. I'm going to put that down there. That's a really good way of looking at it. I've never heard it put that way. Well done. Well done. You genius.
There you go. There you go.
I like it.
Thank you so much.
I'll buy it. I'll wear it.
I would also just let the chat know that we're nearing the last round of questions. So if you have anything that you feel is not answered yet, now's the time to post about it, because we are closing shop in right around 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, we just started. I mean, giving for Daniel, that was just the introduction. So the actual talk is now happening for the next 5 hours.
To be honest, I feel like I'm just settling in, Dirk. I'm like, right, go.
No, but I appreciate all the insight we have so far.
No, I'm joking. Carry on.
The stream has been disappointing. I don't see a single roundtable. I bet that guy came from your stream, Daniel.
I know that guy. Don't listen to him. He's an Australian.
I actually love the other one. This is so great. 4 composers and Christopher.
Oh, that is cruel.
It's true.
Nah, don't listen. Don't listen to the trolls, Chris. Don't listen to the trolls.
Yeah,
we will not.
Mr. Foreman.
One question
I mean, it's fucking funny, but that was unnecessary and cruel.
No.
I could have substituted with my name.
Composer. Just
the cool thing is that we know that is not true, so that's the great thing about it. Anyway, one question was,
so mean.
What's your 10-year goal / dreams? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to have accomplished in 10 years' time? Chris?
Who's that to?
Playing Warzone on Twitch and make a living from it.
Love it.
I'm sorry.
No.
I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
You want to make a living from Twitch? Is that what you said? Alex.
Oh, you mean me? Yeah, I just said, playing Warzone on Twitch and make a living from it.
Oh, dude.
That's the dream.
Mean, go for it. That's the dream right there.
No, I'm just, someone serious.
There's half truth to that. What is it? Many a true word has been said in jest. I reckon there's a degree of truth to that, a sliver of truth. I'm behind you. You'd do well at that.
Definitely. I mean, I played games when I was 9 years old. I grew up with games. I'm a video game composer, and / trailer, license music, whatever, and some sort of arranger.
Yeah, and you look like a military bloke. You literally look like you could tear me to pieces. Like if I said the wrong word, you would tear me apart with your bare hands. Like if you play Warzone games, it's the aesthetic. You've got it, You've got the look. Sorry, Chris, you were saying. We're being so rude to Chris.
No.
Chris, back in the game. Sorry. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, I would love to be affiliated with Disney in some way. I think that's my dream job, just to be either composer or arranger in Disney Studios.
I honestly don't think that's 10 years away.
Yeah.
Okay, 20. Yeah. Sorry.
No, rather less. Anyway, Blake, what about you?
Well, 10 years, I often get asked what my long-term goal is. And I thought for a while there that it was, to be a movie composer or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Write for films. But while I still love the idea of that, I don't think that my heart's set on any particular direction. I think that's because I'm finding a lot of satisfaction in what I'm doing now. All the other shorter forms of media. I'm really enjoying it, and honestly, I'm just holding on for the ride. I just want to be wherever. I just want to be surrounded by people that are better than me. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm finding myself in at the moment. I'm sending mixes to legendary mixes, you know, of world class that I know I've got to up my game every time, and I know where my weaknesses are, and they make sure to let me know. And you know what I mean? I'm getting constantly pushed, and that's I get high off getting better. So for me, that's great.
That's cool. That's cool. I think that's very, very important to surround yourself with people that you know are more capable of stuff in certain areas than you are, because that forces you to push and to get yourself better.
Yeah,
in these
totally.
areas. Daniel, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, if I'm still alive, where do I see myself in 10 years? To be honest, like I'll probably just be doing the same kind of shit. Like the thing I realized, I was looking at my career and stuff, you know, I was having one of those moments, and I realized that, you know, like I was saying earlier, live stream allowing me to be more me. It's happening musically too, as well. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing more music that like speaks to me rather than just doing the movie and trying to chase that movie dream that everyone seems to have. And the thing is the closer I've got to it, like, it's like seeing the ugly bits you don't see from afar. You know what I mean? It's like getting close and realizing they were actually ugly. You know what I mean? But from a distance, they look like a solid 7. You get close and they're like a 3 on a good day, you know? And so it's like, it's a tough industry. It's got a lot of things that you need to do, you know, and it's a lot of pressure and just a lot of kind of nasty people in it as well. You know, like a lot of, it's a sharky industry, the movie industry. It's just this. And like, I see some of these composers and, like, you know, they're able to do like 15 movies in a year or something, you know, like a Hans or like a Lorne or something. And I just think, like, I think about the times I've done a feature film and how much that drained me as a human. You know what I mean? I'm thinking doing 15 in a year, that's just like, that's not a degree. Like, to me, that's stop being success. Stop being the person who does 15 a year. If I can get 1 a year, I'm still a success in my book. I'm still doing a job that I've dreamt of doing. I'm still achieving. I'm still presenting. And every year I get to reinvent something brand new. And, you know, I don't need to do 15 different versions of the same thing to be considered more of a success. You know what I mean? So I think what I've decided that I want to do, and so over the next 10 years, I'm going to try and actually put into place, is to do more things that I want to do enough so that I can maintain the life I want, but then do, like, not just take jobs because they're a Hollywood gig, or not just take a video game because it's a video game gig. I feel like that whole like composer thing of proving myself, I feel like I've done that now. Like I'm very fortunate, you know, like all the projects and things that I've done have put me at a point where I can go like, okay, I don't need to like kind of prove that I've done it. Like it kind of speaks for itself. So I want to kind of get more into my own thing. You know, like I feel like I just want to go down that and do something and live more of a life. You know, that to me is a more successful life. So just do enough to make, you know, to satisfy my own need for, you know, creativity and output, and then actually live the life and do the music and do the things I want to do. I'm privileged. I understand that because I'm in a position where I can say shit like that. Not everyone's that. Like, but in you know, if we're speaking specifically, I've been fortunate enough to be in a position where that's what I want to do with my next 10 years.
Yeah.
But yes.
So for me, it's kind of sorry. What's someone?
Sorry, I just wanted to. I mean, go ahead, but I just wanted to, you know, answer this question on a more serious note. So what I, you know.
Oh no! You mean the games was not serious?
Yes, but I just have to appear serious, you know, and make a better impression than just saying that games is everything. But basically, I have to totally agree with what Daniel says, and this was basically my short phrase. Like, I see myself in 10 years, like making a living on Twitch with playing, you know, Call of Duty Warzone. It's basically what he said, that there are so many composers out there, and they see being successful in the film industry, and then they slam out, or they are confronted with like composing music for like 5 to 10, you know, movies, and then they're so exhausted and strung out, and they just, you know, eat garbage and don't do sports, or they stop living, you know. And this is like, I honestly say I'm 45 right now, and I'm in the position of saying what I actually do is I love. Huh?
No way. You look like 28.
Look so young. He looks so young, doesn't he?
I'm nearly half your age.
In 10 years, I want to look like Alex Pfeffer.
I have right now, you know.
I'm sort of on my way there. Like, I've got the beard, the hair's going a bit. Like, I'm catching you up, Alex, mate.
Yeah, definitely. You just have to lose a bit of more hair.
I feel like you've cornered the beard market. Like, I've started growing it, and people have drawn comparisons already. Someone was asking what beard oil you use, and I'm like, oh, I need to get some of that.
So we have to.
Don't worry, I linked you up.
Dirk into, growing a beard, and Blake too, and Christopher.
No, it's not gonna happen.
I can't do it, dude. I've been trying for years.
Yeah. So for myself, 10 years, and I think this goes along with the next question or next topic that I have in mind that was asked in the chat. There was a question on if you can survive on personal music projects alone, and I want to quickly touch on the topic of diversification, diverse your income streams, have several irons in the fire, as we used to say in Germany. To answer the question specifically, I was asked about elements, if you can make money from that. No, you can't. Not in these times, unless you have 1 million plays on Spotify a day or something like that. I see myself in 10 years still making what I do, like not talking about going to work, but talking about going to have fun in the morning, because that's what I do now. I don't go to work. I go to have fun because I love what I'm doing, and I don't consider it work. Even it can be stressful at times, and it can be tight. It's still fun. And I still love it. And I actually have sometimes trouble to calm myself down for other stuff. So there's other stuff outside the work world. There's a family. There is sleep and stuff like that.
That's how you know you love it. It's how you know you're made for it.
So this is something I don't want to see too much having changed in 10 years. I want to still do the same stuff and have fun with what I do, and I want to be in the lucky position to say I am able to make a living from that. So I still make enough dough to pay my bills with what I do. I would love to be in that position. Coming from that and then talking about that other stuff, do you live from personal projects, or I think that it's absolutely crucial to branch out into as much different territories as possible as you physically can handle in terms of workload. That means, for me, it's production music. It's every now and then working on a film score, on a game score. I mean, I'm not really hunting film scores, to be honest, because I'm more rooted in the production music world, and I love it. But if someone comes along, I don't mind working on it, and I love it. And I did 3 feature films, and I did a full game score and stuff like that, and it can be fun for sure. But I'm not chasing it actively right now because I'm actually pretty happy in the production music world. But then there is every now and then you need time for a personal outlet that is not really. So when I did Elements, for example, I was grateful for the opportunity to not think about client wishes, but actually just doing something for the sake of something to do I love. Just writing the music that I feel good with, that I don't need to think about what project can it be used for, what emotion do I need to transfer, but just writing for the sake of writing. But this is nothing that necessarily pays the bills, so this is rather a personal, like using the hobby aspect of what we do. So that's kind of the fun zone, and then you have the work zone, which still can be fun, of course. So what's your take on diversification of income streams, and what advice can you give up-and-coming composers to broaden? I think the same question that goes along. Sorry, I just want to add that. How long did it take you to go full-time? So the transition from doing it on the side to full-time, that's one of the most asked questions that I get. Maybe we can shed some light on that as well. Alex, your take?
Yeah. Well, I think it took kind of like 5 years to go full time, but I was fortunate enough to start as a guitar teacher back then. So I had kind of like a little bit of income to pay the rent and stuff like this. And then I transitioned to game music. And then this, at the same time, it split into getting into license and trailer music. So, but all in all, I mean, I'm saying 5 years, it probably took until I was making money from from the licensed music, when I got finally paid for some TV or movie trailers. So I mean, it could get, you can get faster to that, maybe in like 6 months or a year, or maybe you have some savings aside and you transition into something which just works. But I think the most important thing today, with having in mind that video is the marketing, how do you say, the medium number one, it's really important to build like this, you know, like having a Twitch account or streaming live to YouTube or having a YouTube channel. Because if you stay on that consistently on a range of like 10 to 20 years, besides working for projects, this definitely, what I mean jokingly in the past, will happen one day that you wake up and you have like 50,000 or 100,000 or 200,000 subscribers, and you fire up, you know, your light here, and you just, you know, hit the record screen and jump on a live, you know, session, writing a track. And you have like, when you have like, you know, imagine to that point when you have like 100, 200,000 followers, you get some subs, you get some donations, you mention like a library you worked on, then suddenly you sell something, then people watch your YouTube videos, you have like some affiliate links, and then people watch over and say, hey, what is that microphone that guy is using? And then I had this experience that somebody through my affiliate links went to Amazon and said, okay, I got that microphone, let's get like 1,400 pound iPad. And I got like 5% from that. And I mean, this is like this little money, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say, you don't force anyone to spend money on what you do. People totally by themselves, you know, if it's a donation on Twitch, if it's monetization money on YouTube, you don't force anyone. You will get that. If it's an affiliate link on Amazon, nobody has to pay you additional money. It's just a little, you know, a little percentage which is going to you, and people would probably more welcome to give you that split rather than to the distributor or the developer of the product. So I think coming back to the question, sorry, I drifted off a little, but combining all this to look out for work and building your channels will definitely lead. You know, we have this one door where you can look for opportunities to work. So like the typical Dyneck, do you need a composer? But there is also this other door where you can build everything you want yourself. And this is my favorite motto. You know, life is not about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. And if you just sit there and you want to make content happen, if you want to bring a message across, then sooner or later, there is you will find that target group out there. It just takes a long time to build this, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry for drifting off a little bit here.
That's totally fine. I forgot that. Affiliate links is actually a great thing, especially in the YouTube world and being on YouTube and sharing your content. And like, if you do sample library reviews and people, for example, I have some affiliate links with sample library developers. So if I showcase the sample library and someone after my stream is inclined to head over there and buy it, and the developer offers me like a 5% or whatever, even 2%, whatever share of their sale that is generated through me sending someone their way, I don't see anything wrong with that. And actually, I appreciate that. And it just shows some appreciation for your work, so to say, or for if I send someone along to spend some money on them, I'm fine with that. And I don't think that there is an conflict of, someone mentioned to me that if that's a conflict of interest or something, so you're not unbiased in your review.
I've never done that. I've never done that, just because like at the time when that was a thing, I was getting a lot of shit, you know, like particularly over like the Hans Zimmer strings thing, you know, back in that time when that kind of came around. And like to me, it was just it wasn't worth people suggesting that I was saying shit because of money, you know what I mean? Or saying this because you get like, you're only saying this is good because you're going to make money off the end. And so like with that kind of stuff, like, I mean, yes, there's money to be made there, but at the same time, it's like my whole thing is that like I just speak my mind, and it's hard to do that with that kind of thing hanging around. That's just a negative part of trying to be like, you know, the way I do things, which isn't the way to do things. Trust me.
I think you would be honest.
Yeah,
I think you would be honest.
I'm not saying that you're being dishonest. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're being dishonest. No. I'm just saying that like it's just something I never have to deal with. It's just like a worry off of my back. Like, because people will, like, if you do that, even though I know for a fact that you two don't do that, you know, people will still say it. Yeah, and it's still a thing that they'll try and say that, oh, his opinion isn't valid because, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to give them that ammo. Like, I'll make me money some other way where they can't like attach it to something like that's, you know, that's why like I do like you, I do like the revenue streams with some library music that I've done years ago, just a little stream there, a little bit of YouTube stream, a little bit of Spotify stream. And it's funny, all these little tiny streams eventually add up to like, you know, month's rent or something, and that's just from the stuff you did 5 years ago. So that's always a good way to make a bit of money. But like the little bits of money from like I'm still struggling with whether or not to like on Twitch have a subscribe button. You know what I mean? Because I don't want I do the Twitch thing for fun, and by side thing, my YouTube thing's for fun. So I don't want people to I don't want it to feel like a job. You know what I mean? Because if I don't want to have like a tier where I'm doing things for just these people who give me money, and again, I'm not saying that's wrong. It's just that like my own self-governance won't allow it. You know what I mean? It's it's just I don't want to deal with the headaches of what people say when you do things like that. Again, and I know for a fact that you guys don't do that, but it doesn't stop people being assholes.
I mean, Danny, you're not asking for it, but from what I can tell you, every now and then also get donations and something like that.
I get donations, but that's different.
I want to say that's different than the subscription or something. But you still, if someone wants to show you their support for you giving away knowledge or talking to people, so that's another route, and it can.
I had a very the original question was how long did it take us to get into full-time music?
Full-time,
and how to make a living out of it. I think that's super important. There's probably a lot of people that want to talk about that, and I don't know if trying to rely on Twitch and YouTube income's really the way to go about it. And it can work for some, but for me, the only reason why I'm able to do music full-time now is because I found work somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? In another industry, and then chase my music passion on the side. I feel like if you're deciding to go into music, I feel like if you trying to make music work straight away is not really it's not going to help you, because you're going to be forced to take any bit of job, any work you can get. You'll be forced to try and get donations or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was a full-time teacher teaching 8 and 9-year-olds how to do maths for 5 years. It took me 5 years. Every night I'd go home and do music to de-stress. Every weekend I would do music or whatever. And my teaching allowed me to then actually fund my music. Do you know what I mean? And fund my passion. My YouTube channel became my outlet or whatever. And that's where most of my content actually came when I had the full-time job. Now that funnily enough, now that I'm a full-time composer, I don't actually have time to stream much anymore, or I'm not allowed to because of the content that I'm working on. But I really think that it's a smart idea to find stability somewhere else and let music happen naturally, so you can chase your passion. You can chase exactly what you want to do and not feel like you need to thrash music to try and survive. You can really focus in on what you want.
That can also hinder the process if you're entirely reliant on music to survive.
That's right. Yeah. And I got asked to be a music teacher, and I decided not to do it because I thought it would kill my love of music. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it was always about how can I sustain myself while chasing my dream. And if I get to do my dream full time, then that's like the best thing ever, right? And I was lucky that it worked out that way for me so far. Who knows? You might find me teaching maths to 8 and 9-year-olds again in a few years' time.
Well, if I can pick up on that, actually, I'm a full-time piano theory teacher now, and I started maybe 3-4 years ago. But it's because of this teaching full-time that I'm able to, like you said, purchase all the equipment you need and libraries and all that. But the path I'm taking is quite straightforward. It's like you guys have said, you can't really depend on Twitch and YouTube revenue unless you have like 1 million or 2 million followers that get regular, whatever every day. So another option to take is getting those viewers who are on your Twitch or YouTube videos and pulling them into a personal, like, closed system. For example, like an email list, like Alex has talked about many times. But
important.
Right, exactly, because then you can continue to provide value to those people. But eventually, if you want to create content that's more in depth and create some type of online course like we've been talking about, we can always pitch to those people, and those people are considered warm leads because they've already accepted something that we've created for free for them, right? So there's really no limit, and it's totally scalable, I should say, when it comes to that, as we continue to grow our list, because it's not dependent on other platforms like Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. Those things could disappear one day, but if we have our own group of people who we can talk to and pitch to, of course, then it's always pleasant too.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah. Looking at Alex right now, being aware that it's 1 a.m. over at your place, I guess.
Oh, damn.
Damn.
We are coming to an end with this. all I can say is thank you guys so much for taking the time. That was a good 2 hours we had this roundtable
Thank you.
going.
Thanks for having us.
I think
Thank
it
you,
was
man.
pretty awesome. We got some really nice insight on the side of being a composer on YouTube. Obviously, leave your comments and questions in the chat below. I'm pretty sure you guys will follow up in a couple of days if someone wants to know anything else. But let us know how you liked it, how you liked the format, and if you think we can do that more often. I appreciate any input on that. Thank you guys for joining, and have a wonderful afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are.
By the way, there's already a suggestion in the chat saying once a month, so that's pretty awesome.
I will not make
Seem to be
any
enjoying it.
any promises there. but
Not yet, not yet, not yet.
We should do it again.
We'll see.
right?
I
We'll
have
see.
to admit that I do like the format. It's just more casual
differences and everything. Yeah,
a
true.
little bit refreshing, getting away from just hacking down on the keys or on the guitar or whatever and doing some stuff with music, but rather talk about it. Especially in these times where we don't have much more possibility than doing it on screen. So, final for me to say thank you, guys. Thank you, all the viewers out there. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully until the next time. Right?
You guys.
Thanks, Dirk. Awesome.
You all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much.